Okay. Welcome back to the travel series From Passion to Paycheck. I hope you all are enjoying this. Today I have a lovely guest, Ashley from Facebook. He
Woo.
um he travels a lot and he helps people travel. He does group trips and different things like that. So we're just talking to him a little bit about his passion and how he turned into a profit and one of his new projects that he started doing the quarantine. So, hey, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. It's everybody's stuck in the house, so I'm stuck in the house too. So
Yeah, I know. Can't wait to get out. Like, oh my goodness, we're supposed to be travelers. We can't go nowhere. So, like,
can't go anywhere.
what
Geez.
what are we supposed to do? What are we doing?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out how to flip it, right? How to flip the situation and still be positive and still be productive. But there's a lot of there are a lot of hurdles that I'm coming up against in terms of trying to flip this situation, but I'll figure it out. I'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
we all just figuring out, I guess. And so I wanted to start off by asking, how many countries have you been to?
I've been to 37 countries,
Oh my
a-
gosh,
and
37.
I actually count the cities too. So I think at this point, I've been to 115 international cities.
What? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. So like, what's your favorite country you've been to?
that is difficult because I travel with students as well. So if I'm traveling with my students, it's Spain, right? Because of how we travel, we integrate curriculum and that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
I'm traveling for myself, it's Guatemala easily, hands down. Um,
Okay.
I go to Guatemala every year. I take Spanish lessons. I live with the same family. I
Oh, you do the
experience,
homestays?
I do the homestay. Yeah. So the first time I was there like 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And each time after that, it was a little bit less, but nonetheless, I'm there probably 2 weeks each time, probably twice a year.
I need to be traveling with you. Okay, I need to get my countries up, baby. What? Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. So when did you, I guess, start traveling? When did your passion for travel start?
That's an interesting story. I'm going to tell you how I started traveling. This is a really good segue for someone to find out more. I have a podcast too, a podcast called Traveling Incognito. So I tell this story on there on the second episode. But as a teacher, I was in the classroom, and one of my students really wanted to go on a field trip, and she told me, long story short, because you need to go listen to my podcast too, right? But she told me, I don't want to go any other place. I want to go out in the country, right? And so when that hit me, I had to figure out how to make that work. And so I had to do a little research, and I was in my 30s at the point. I had never been out of the country before, aside from like a cruise. Like I've been on a cruise and you get off to the port, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm out the country, but there's debate in that, right? So um, after that, I researched and found this program, this company that does international travel for students. And I signed up for that. And a year later, 2 years later, I'm sorry, I took my first trip. And that's how I started traveling internationally. And then after that, I realized that who I wanted to travel with, who I wanted to make an impact with, couldn't afford those trips. And so about 3 years ago, I started my own travel company to make sure that I can control the price. And by that, I can also assist and help those students who I really wanted to help from the beginning.
Okay, yeah. So, you said that it took you about 2 years to go on the first one. What were you doing like in those times? Were you just like researching, like trying to get funding or different things like that? Like, did that kid get to go on that trip too?
That she did not get to go on that trip. No, she didn't. She is still one of my favorite students ever of all time, though. Like I follow her on Facebook and Instagram because I want to see what's going on in her life. It's like I was really connected with all of my students that year. That was my first year teaching. I had never taught before ever, and I had that class, and she inspired me. So in between that time, I had went to my principal and asked her about doing it, and she said no. After that, I went to another school, and he said yes, but then I had to wait the following year,
Mm-hmm.
just for I had just gotten there, and I didn't ask him until I don't know what it was. The school year had already started, um, so I asked him, and then the plan was to travel the following year, and we did.
Okay. And so then after that, then you created your own travel group, and what is that called?
My company is called Abiri Tours, so it is a company. I have a nonprofit called Abiri Tours Kids, and then yeah, so I tried with a nonprofit, try to raise money to help more kids to travel. So my company is designed for um, to provide affordable and quality international travel experiences for Black and Brown families.
And how long have you been doing that?
I have been doing that for so 3 years. Doing that for 3 years.
What?
Yep.
So crazy. And
Yep.
so what? And that's when you were saying that your favorite country, like within that, was Spain to go to.
With the students, right? So I've been traveling with students since 2010,
Oh.
2009. Um, and I do like to go. I do like to go to Spain with them because of how the school that I work at, um, the curriculum is written around the destination.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
they get that they get that content before they actually go, and so when they go, they actually have a more deeper, richer experience. So I love that. I love to see their eyes just like brighten up and like just full of life when what they've studied now comes to life of what they are seeing. So that's why Spain, because of that. But I really do love Guatemala though. Like, I go to Guatemala myself. I take groups to Guatemala, and it is probably one of the most amazing places in the world to go. If you have not been there, seriously, you need to think about it because it is fantastic.
Yeah, I've never been there before. But I wanted to ask, when you started traveling, did you know that you could turn this into a profit?
No, um, I had so at this point, let me back up. So I was traveling and I was doing it like once a year,
Mm-hmm.
and with the company that I was doing with, I do get like a stipend, right? So I was getting like, maybe depending on how many kids I took with me, maybe 1,000, maybe $1,500, right? And just doing it once a year. And then I left that school. I started travel programs at 3 different schools. So
Okay, you were not playing.
yeah, so I left the second school and went to the third school, and I still wanted to continue traveling, so I had to figure out a way to travel at a different time with the new school, while I can still travel with the students from the old school who had already signed up for trips. So
Mm,
that put me into two trips a year. And then as a third school, my current school continued to grow. Um, I added more trips on to that school. So for that school, I'm traveling in February, I'm traveling in March, I'm traveling in June, and then on my own personal trips, I'm traveling in April, I'm traveling in June and July.
what?
Um,
Oh my goodness, you have them
so
back to back like that?
uh, last year I traveled 13 times internationally.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy last year, but
Yeah.
so
So,
I didn't know it was going to be something lucrative for me
mhm.
at that point. But then when I started doing, you know, multiple trips a year, um, my girlfriend was like, "You need to like do your own thing because, yeah, like you need to do your own thing because you doing the same thing now.
Mhm.
Just do it." Um, it's good to have somebody behind you that supports you.
Mhm.
Because even when you don't see the vision, even when you don't see the potential, or even when you're focused on the hurdles and the obstacles, they're looking at the vision. They're looking at what it can be and motivating you from that perspective. And it was all her motivation and all her support that made me step out on the limb and do it. And my first trip on my own was to Cuba, and I was so afraid. I was afraid that people were going to not like it. I was afraid I wasn't going to give them a quality experience. I was afraid that something was going to go wrong. Um, but we came back from that trip and everybody loved it. and it gave me a boost of energy, and I was like, okay, let's do this again. So
Yes.
yeah.
So do you just figure out where you want to go and then just put it out there and then see if people are interested in going?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be really honest with you, right? So I go to certain places over and over again because of the profit margin.
Uh,
So because I am offering my trips at a lower discounted price than what you would normally get, I also want to make sure that I'm going to those same places because the profit margin for those places are larger for me. So and then I add on other places based on, like, in my Facebook group, I'll put out, here's a poll. Where do you want to go? And then I'll go from that poll and then choose that place. Like last year we went to Ghana,
mhm,
um, and that was an amazing trip as well. But that came from asking people who follow me and customers and people who've traveled me before, where would you like to go? And
mhm.
so then I just had to do the research and figure it out.
What? So how have you like pivoted your business or your structure now with everything that's going on? We haven't been able to travel. Like, how has that impacted your life or like this season?
Yeah, so because I couldn't travel, I was able to start a podcast because here's the thing about me. Many people travel, and I'm not knocking how anybody travels. The way you travel and the way you spend your money is your decision, is your prerogative. Like, you don't have to justify that to anybody. The way I travel is a lot different than most of the people who I know who travel. So I want to be in an authentic experience. I want to be 100% immersed, or if not really close to immersion. I want to experience local culture and local customs and traditions and experiences. So I don't always stay at the fancy hotels, and I don't always go to um, the Instagram ready spot to take the picture, right?
You gotta
I
do that for
stay,
one. I'm just kidding.
yeah, I do, right? Like, true enough, but I think a lot of the times when we're in our own, when we're in local settings, like, I get those spots. Like, for example, in Guatemala, I go every year around the same time because there's a local celebration there. It's called La Feria, and it's like fair, Feria, and it's the birthday of the town. So I go to this small town in Guatemala called San Pedro, which is Spanish for Peter. And so the town is named after the patron Saint Peter, and they celebrate that on the 29th of every June. And so when I go there, it's always around that time. So I'm getting those pictures and those really good moments, colorful. I'm getting, like, dancing and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also getting a really, really authentic experience that you're not going to get any other place. Like, I am celebrating the same way that the people who live there celebrate.
Mhm.
You know, um, so yeah. So I travel a little bit differently than most people. So, um, it's important for me to be able to travel consciously, and so I want to make sure that I have an understanding of what the people who live in those places who look like me, what they experience, and have that at the forefront so that I know to make sure that I check the privilege that I come through with the American passport. So
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying. And so I guess, do you have any future trips planned for the rest of the year? Or are you going to
no, we
go?
canceled 7 trips this year.
Oh, I know your heart is
We
breaking.
canceled 7 trips. We canceled Egypt. We canceled Rwanda. We canceled 2 trips to Ghana. I'm sorry, not Ghana. Two trips to Guatemala. 2 trips to um, uh, Cuba, and a trip to Greece.
Yes, because I was thinking about going to the Cuba one too. I was
You
like,
should come. It's pretty dope.
I never y'all canceled it. I don't know.
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, so I've had to pivot because so I started the podcast, and so then I can still talk about those same experiences,
Just in
right?
a different way.
And still in a different way. Um, Further on in the episodes, I'm going to be interviewing people and some of my friends who are in different places. Again, it's really important for me to make friendships and make connections when I travel somewhere. So I'm going to be interviewing them about their life there, to kind of give people a travel experience without
Oh,
actually
that's
being there.
cool. Like international people and like talking about their culture and everything. That's a cool
Yep.
different thing.
Yep.
I haven't seen that interviewing
Yeah.
from different people where they live and stuff like that. That's really cool.
Yep.
So did you? I guess when you started your brand, it's called Travel with Aubrey, or is it called?
So Abiri Tours is my company.
Oh, maybe Travel with Abiri's.
Yeah, and so Travel with Abiri is the Facebook group.
Okay, that's why I was
Yeah.
getting mixed up. I was like, oh, my bad.
It's all
And so
good.
when you started it, like, what does that word mean?
That's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Um, Abiri means to travel or to cross. It's Swahili. Um,
Hey,
and
Swahili.
and it means to travel. It means to travel to cross. Figuratively for me and for the company, it means that we're crossing cultures. We're crossing barriers. We are uh, crossing some of those man-made those invisible borders and all of that to actually experience um, authentic people, authentic customs, and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to come on a trip because I like that too. Like, I'm very like a cultural person. People like, I want to go see the views. I want to see the people. Okay, I don't
I
care.
want Yeah, I mean, I want to see the views too. Don't get me wrong. Like I
I
said,
guess
I'm
the
not
views.
knocking.
I guess like the views, but I mean, like they're like, oh my gosh, Greece is so beautiful. But where are the people at? That's what I'm saying.
Right,
With Instagram
right.
pictures like that, like okay, that's cool. I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not
You
saying
don't want to take your flying dress picture in Greece.
like what? Hey, everybody doing that. Like, nah, I'm good off of that. Like, where are the people at? Like, where's the party at? Where's the language? Like, come on, I need to get that.
when
Okay.
we were in Portugal, we were in Lisbon, and we had dinner in a person's house.
Oh.
We went to his house, and it was in the city, and and behind his house, kind of like a backyard area, it's like a courtyard, and he cooked us dinner. And he was not a professional chef, but he was like a kind of like a home chef,
Mm-hmm.
and then used local fresh ingredients, and then told us how he cooked it and his methods. And um, so those are the kind of things that I like to do. You know what I mean? Like, so if I want to call him back now, I can call him. His name is Pedro, and tell him to get on the internet with me and answer some questions, or
Yeah.
will you be there next month because I'm coming to visit? You know what I mean?
Right. I swear it's always good. Like I just met some people. Well, I've been to Trinidad and Tobago twice or whatever, and they're like, if you want to come back from Carnival, let me know. Y'all don't gotta tell me twice. When these borders open, whatever happen, I'm coming. I'm staying right with y'all. Like I think that is so important. Like even going to Canada, like Jamaica, whatever. Just like meeting those people and keeping those connections with them, and then when you go back, you can always have that. And like it's like a sense of home or a sense of feeling. And so that's why I guess I was speaking to that earlier. Like, no, I want to meet the people. I want to talk to the people. Like
Yes.
let me go somewhere. How you were saying, like going to the people's houses, like let me go somewhere, like just come over here, take pictures. That's cute for Instagram or whatever. But when I think of cultural experiences, I'm thinking of like let
Hmm.
me meet people. Like I haven't touched the motherland. I want to touch the motherland so bad.
You
But
come with
like
us. You can touch it.
yes, I know that Return to Ghana. I missed that one, but that's a whole nother story.
We can be on this thing for a long time talking about Ghana, and we went that year
No,
too, but I'm not
I'm
going.
so sad. I really want to go. And I was thinking actually my birthday is August 21st.
Okay.
And I was trying to go to Ghana this year. I tried to go to the motherland either this year or December, but COVID swiped that out the
Yeah.
waters.
Yeah.
Can't go nowhere. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe just a theme travel or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I just think it's really important. And that's like getting to know people, getting to talk to people and stuff like that. And so I feel like even within that, like with the passion of like traveling, going through, like everybody has different passions. I'm not saying like not to take the cute pictures or not to do the Instagrammable stuff, but just thinking and then also realizing the privilege that you are able to have with traveling and going different things and stuff like that. So I think that's really important too. You kind of see it more when you're going outside, and then you got to think about it. You got to think about like your passport and different things like that. So that's also important.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's really important for me and the people I travel with. Like, you have to know that I think right now it's like 45% of the United States has a passport. 45%. That's it.
Mm,
So of those 45%, how many are actually using it? Right. And then if we start kind of breaking that down, what is the percentage of people that look like us, Black people, Black Americans, you know what I mean, who have a passport? Not 45% of us.
yeah.
Um, so when we travel, when we go out of the country, we are among a select few, right? We are among a small percentage of people who have this opportunity to actually be in another country. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important on how you represent yourself, but also how you respect the culture that's there.
Mm-hmm. You said the culture, I mean, because we can't, I'm not trying to get political, but I'm like, oh, we can represent America, but they see America every day, so they see what
No, yeah, I ain't even talking about that. But I do feel like, not America as the culture of America, but definitely, I have talked to many people about Black people
Mm-hmm.
and what we do and how we live our life here, because their perception of Black Americans is completely different
Yeah.
than our perception, like our life. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's important that that I have those conversations. I mean, I can talk to you for at length about those conversations with people. You know,
Yes, definitely. And so, with that, with your travel company and how you how you use it and how you, I guess, schedule and do the trips and different the trips and different things. I couldn't get that together. Where do you, I guess, see your brand going? Like, do you see like you being like a full time, I guess, travel agent or travel curator, whatever um thing you want to call it?
yeah. So right now, my full time job is at the school. I'm the director of student development at my school.
What?
Uh,
That's so
yeah.
dope.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So right now, not full time right now. I think it would be amazing um, to be able to travel full time and to be able to scale my business.
Hmm.
Um, I have to really look into what scaling means to me. Like, what does it actually mean?
In
Um,
travel, it's kind of hard, I think, too.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so there's not like, I mean, there's probably different expectations that people have. And so what does it mean for me?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I do want it to grow, which is why I started a nonprofit. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable with you and tell you some secrets about me a little bit. So,
I want to start
um,
it too. So,
so I find myself to be a very confident person on the outside, but a lot of times on the inside, I don't necessarily feel that confidence in certain
oh,
situations that I exude on the outside.
definitely.
And so part of that is how that manifests itself is like in my business, I may not have done the things necessary to grow because I was afraid of the growth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And could I handle that? Would I be able to do it? And would it be able to grow at all? So that's why I said I have to kind of figure out what it means for me. Um, but that's why I started a nonprofit, because I wanted to be able to solicit donations and uh, grants and those type of things to help me to build the actual business part.
Do you have your nonprofit? Do you have your board members and everything like that already? With
I
that,
do.
oh
I
my God,
do.
that's so dope. How long have
Yeah.
you had your nonprofit?
I just started it and since the COVID. I just started it. Yeah.
You didn't ask me to be a board member. I'm crying.
Listen, we can always make things happen. You know what I mean?
Okay, yes, let me be on the board, okay?
Yes, we can always make
Oh,
things
I
happen.
didn't know that you just started it though. That's why I was wondering. I know that you had the travel group, so I guess that's for profit. Yeah, I didn't know that
Hmm.
you started a nonprofit. Then I was actually
Yep.
going to start a nonprofit for young people to travel, but then I decided not to do a nonprofit because people were like, "Well, you could just do a scholarship, because you got to get board members and all that stuff like that, and that's a lot." So, but maybe I could partner with you or something like that because when I start my traveling boutique, I'm about to open that up. COVID and everything
Good.
going on, but I want to donate a percentage, like for people to get passports. So for high schoolers to get passports,
Hmm.
like I want to do like every semester or something like that, or quarter.
Hmm.
I want to give kids passports. So I think that
That's
like
awesome.
that would be better for me than trying to start a nonprofit and try to send people,
Hmm. Hmm.
to these different trips because that could be like a lot too. So it's like I can just give you like $200, like that's really nothing. And
Listen,
I'm gonna
it
give
is a
you
lot. I'm gonna
$1,000.
tell you, like to be on a trip and you're responsible for 40,
Mm-hmm.
adolescents, that's
Mm-hmm.
huge. And then that's the school part. And then to be on a trip and you're responsible for 40 families, you know what I mean? Like that's
Oh yeah,
also
yeah. I was talking about the money. I was talking about like paying for a trip for students to go abroad.
right.
That's what I was talking about. I was
Yeah.
like, that might be too hard because then it gets finicky with the programs and stuff like that. But I can easily give some kids a
So
passport.
that's the purpose for me for the nonprofit, right? So the nonprofit would raise money to pay for the trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if the trip is X amount of dollars, the nonprofit purchases those trips through the business.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, and see, and that's where I can come into. I'm like, okay, well, up. Here's some money for your passports. I was like, ooh, doing that other stuff, like that's a lot. And also, I have like another nonprofit. Like, I do love traveling and I love kids or whatever too, trying to do it. But I know that that's so hard, and it's like hard and 18 and under and stuff like that. I was like, okay, that might not be too good for me. So, I'm just gonna do something else. I'm trying to do a nonprofit for some older kids, and then that could be easier because they're grown, they're 18. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I did think about that too. I just everything's going on, but I do want to give kids passports because how you were saying like the 45%, that's crazy to even know as well. And like I had a passport when I was in middle school, honestly, but some people don't have passports, and sometimes that's like even like, yeah, you could travel, but even they might not even know they need a passport. So like that's the access, that's how I can help them get to the next level is by providing
Yeah.
them this passport.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think that is something that I want to do. Oh,
And we have done some things with the business too, like charity and philanthropy stuff. Like we donated about 350 pairs of glasses to people in Guatemala.
I think I did
Um,
do that. You love
we
Guatemala.
yeah, I love Guatemala. We what else did we do? We donated computers and we donated groceries and we paid for tuition in Ghana um,
Through
for
your
kids.
nonprofit?
No, this was through the
Oh,
business. So,
business.
but in the future it would be through the nonprofit though.
Oh, okay, that's really dope. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So so you had your passion profit, you were doing the for profit, and then you're doing the nonprofit. So in a little bit, you'll be working for your nonprofit and your for profit. I'm just put it out there for you. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Yes, that's so cool. I'm cracking up. Is there anything that you would want to tell somebody or like give advice on, like maybe they want to start being a travel content creator, like blogger, or even they might want to even start a nonprofit or something like that? Would you give them like any tips or any advice?
I mean, that's a good question. So I would just say like you can do it. Like I didn't come into this thinking that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It fell into my lap, right? But I didn't craft this lifestyle for myself. Like I said, I travel a whole bunch, right? Um, but I would tell anybody else, like if they wanted to do it, like you can do it. Um, I think it requires just a little bit of research. The internet is at this point, and I would say figure out what would be your angle, what's your niche, right? And so I travel with kids, right? And so people know, the people trust me with their kids 5,000 miles away.
That's
Like
so.
that's still baffling to me,
Mhm.
right? And because of that, they then trust me to do a trip for them because I have protected their most precious assets, right? So I would say figure out what it is for you. If you're going to do something for millennials, you're going to do something for women. If you're going to do something for Black people, if you're going to do something for kids or whatever, figure out what it is that you want to do, that what it is that you can do, how you want to contribute, and then just make it happen. And then I think that's just the simple it is, just make it happen. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't start off to do this, but it fell into me. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. I didn't start traveling, like I said, until the mid 30s.
Oh
You
my
know what I
goodness,
mean?
I know that's crazy. So you never traveled when you was younger, or you just didn't travel
Nope.
like out the state?
Never traveled when I was younger at all. Nope.
What?
Nope.
And so the student really was like, I want to go here, and that's just like, oh, okay, let's go. Well, you didn't really go, but like that just
I
like,
didn't really go, but yeah, that's what I said because I had to. I mean, this particular student really looked up to me. Like I was a really safe space for her, and and the school was a safe place for her. And like many of our teachers, we look at the teachers are looked at as kind of the answer for everything. And so I couldn't tell her no, even if I didn't know how.
I'm cracking up. That's so crazy. I know that's so different because usually it's like, well, the other people that I have interviewed, they've traveled since like they were younger or something like that. Like they've been traveling and stuff like that. So it's always different to just hear people's different stories about like how they got into travel, how they became passionate about and different things like that. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I want to thank you for coming and joining the conversation, Passion
No problem.
Paycheck. And
It was
tell
really
them,
fun.
yes, tell them your podcast again and where they can find you at.
Yes. So you can find me. My website is abiritours.com, ABIRITOURS.com. And you can join the Facebook group where we post trips and information about traveling. It's Travel with Abiri, ABIRI, Travel with Abiri. And then we're also on Instagram, Abiri Tours. And then the podcast is called Traveling Incognito. Traveling Incognito, Incognegro, Incognito.
Is that on all available platforms?
It's on all available platforms. And so traveling incognito is just the idea of traveling while black with a traveling with, American passport, knowing what we have to endure here in the US, but then having the privilege of what an American passport affords us. And then um, interacting with people as a black American in other countries. So
Okay, yes, and I love the graphic. I love the Black Power
I
graphic.
love it. Yeah, our logo is red, black, and green, and then the logo for the Beery Tours is also red, black, and green.
Oh
So
yeah, okay, consistency, staying on brand and whatnot.
consistency, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and your links will be in the description, and I will share this with you when it's uploaded. Have a great rest of your night. Thank
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
you. Thanks. Okay. Bye.